Hello. Today's video is about dealing with people who don't understand mental illness. Not many people have a good grasp on how to treat people with mental illness. Depression, anxiety, PTSD, and C-PTSD in particular seem to be targets for those with little to no compassion. If you have any of these illnesses, chances are you're going to face at least a few people without compassion at some point, so you need to be prepared. One thing that seems to diffuse people from further insensitive, invalidating comments is a calm and logical response. I'll give you some examples to show you what I mean. "It's all in your mind" is a frequent comment. This one tells me the person saying it thinks you're crazy and they have no patience for you. A good response to that could be something like, "Well, yes it is. It's a mental illness after all. Where else would it be? My kidneys?" Some people say things like, "Think happy thoughts." Well, gee, why did I not think of that? Depression, anxiety, PTSD, and C-PTSD can come with intrusive thoughts that may be absolutely impossible to control. A possible response to this kind of comment could be, "You seem to forget. My brain doesn't work like yours. It's physically broken. It's not just that easy for me to think happy thoughts." A lot of other people say things like, "You should just," followed by their unasked for advice. Unasked for advice is never fun, and it's just rude. It's even worse when the person giving it has absolutely no idea what they're talking about. This one just really gets under my skin, especially when it's wrapped up in fake concern like, "I mean this in love, but you need to get over that." Someone told me that once. I responded with, "Well, thank you, but I didn't ask your advice on this subject." The person who did this to me stopped speaking with me for months after saying that, but tough. I was respectful, and truthfully, I didn't ask for advice. I didn't want it. Some people say things like, "Oh, I know how you feel." No, you don't. You're not me. You don't live with the mental illness that I do. We are two very different people. So no, you don't know how I feel. That can be a good response. I admit I usually get a little snarky with this one. My responses aren't usually quite that nice. I've said things like, "Oh, wow, you spent most of your life suicidal too? You have C-PTSD too? Aren't those flashbacks terrible? Oh, you don't have them. Well, then I guess you really don't know how I feel." Admittedly, it's not very nice, but it does tend to get people's attention when nicer comments don't. "That doesn't sound so bad," is another ridiculous comment. I think some people forget that human beings are all very different. What doesn't sound so bad to one person can actually devastate another one. I remember my high school guidance counselor told me this phrase after I told her that my mother would scream at me and tell me how horrible I was multiple times a day. Her insensitive comment made me feel like I was wrong for being traumatized by this. Now, at the time I was young and I didn't know about narcissism then, so I didn't even respond. Now, though, I think I would say something like, "Maybe it doesn't sound so bad to you, but you weren't there and you weren't me. You weren't the one being screamed at and going through the trauma that I survived." Another useless comment is, "You can't have PTSD, you weren't in the military." Unfortunately, because there's been more attention on PTSD in soldiers than the rest of us with it that results from non-military related trauma, we've kind of been disregarded. It actually reminds me of when AIDS was first coming into the public eye in the 80s. People thought it was a quote-unquote gay disease. AIDS isn't a gay disease any more than PTSD is a military problem. PTSD is a trauma problem. Maybe reminding someone who says that sort of thing might help you. I hope these examples help you to respond to the rude comments made by negative and sensitive people about your mental illness. Thank you for watching my video.